Literally, it took, I think, about an hour and a half to put those buns on me. So an hour and a half to look really silly, you know. I used to say I fall asleep in the chair. I'd go to sleep plain and wake up pretty. Anyway, that's what I said to that, to my hairdresser. Those films were, you know, they were much more casual. And we were living in a world and reflecting a world that was fantasy. It was very human and very emotional, which is why I think people did like the first 3 films, because they were more that way. You know, and you're doing a comedy, so that stuff is very, there's a gnat up here. Very talented gnat. No, so it was much more casual. Actually, you know, there were more girls on it, I'll say that, even if it was just Meg. So, in a way, then you kind of, it was the girls and the boys on Harry Met Sally, and it wasn't like that on Star Wars. It was the girl, and no. But they actually, some of the crew were female, so, yay.
All right, we got one down this aisle. Hello. I was actually wondering, if you actually did get the chance to portray Princess Leia again in the newer series, how might you actually want to have her shown like more, I guess, like as a action, like more action star? How would you differ your portrayal? How would you like to see her now? Yeah.
Not in the metal bikini. Thank you. Unless they could involve Spanx somehow with it. I would like to shoot guns again if that came up. No, I couldn't say. You know, again, I think it's the imagination, it's the storytelling, it's the fantasy element of those films that appealed. It's the fairy tale of the 21st century, so it's just nice being in a world that's this imaginative world that somehow seems familiar, but how could it?
Got one right at the back, right here.
Hello, Ms. Fisher. I really liked the movie Fanboys, and I was wondering if you could tell me how you got involved with that.
How I what?
How you got involved in that project.
Anytime they do something that has to do with Star Wars, they track me down, and no matter how many trees I hide behind, they find me. So I was just sent the script, you know, and they actually asked me to do, I do a voice on Family Guy. They actually asked me to be the voice of Princess Leia in their takeoff on Star Wars. And I would have been the only one of the original cast in it, and they would have paid me $412. So I held out for $415, and it didn't go. But so I don't remember all the particulars of Fanboys, but it came from a very roundabout source, I think, because they were just kids, right? I don't remember.
All right, we're down on your left side now, right here.
Hi, Carrie. I'm a huge fan, and growing up, you were honestly like one of my heroes. I won't go into detail too much because I'll cry, but my question is, who were some of your heroes growing up? And I also have a second question. It can wait till the end, if I could give you a hug.
I have the Black Plague, though. My heroes were a lot of writers. Dorothy Parker was a big hero of mine. I read a lot. That was sort of my first drug. I would escape into other worlds. And so that was sort of Star Wars for me. So I loved Jane Austen. It was all of that. And actually, I didn't go to college. I didn't even make it out of high school. So I was sort of, I don't know. My family called me a bookworm, and they didn't say it nice. So those were my heroes. It was Cary Grant and Dorothy Parker and a lot of other writers.
All right, right down the middle.
Hi, I've been a fan of you since I was 4, so it's really great to see you. I was just wondering when you originally got the script for A New Hope, what were your thoughts on it? Like, did you have any preconceived notions about it, or did you think, what was I getting myself into?
The first movie?
Yes, the first one.
Was it called A New Hope then? I'm so confused.
I
It wasn't, was it? It was? Oh dear. Thank you! All right. I thought it was fantastic. I read it, and I read it out loud with a friend of mine, Miguel Ferrer, he's an actor. He was, we grew up together, and we read the whole thing out loud, and it was amazing. All of that stuff that you see was on the page. And because there was no precedent for it, you imagine it to the extent that your mind can. And when I read it, I just thought, how can they do this? How can they achieve what I imagine this looks like, what's achieved in the writing? And so I wanted to be in it just to see how they could do it. And I wanted to play Han Solo. Well, he got most of the snarky lines, but I was fine with who I got to play.
All right, we're over on your right, way at the back.
Hi there, thank you for the glitter also. You're awesome. I was wondering, who was your favorite actor, either in Star Wars or Drop Dead Fred or The Burbs? You were great in all those, and I was wondering if there was a particular actor that you really got along well with.
That I worked with?
Yes.
Jeez. You know, I was in Hannah and Her Sisters, and Michael Caine was in it. I didn't have any scenes with him, but he kills me. He was awesome. I worked with Laurence Olivier. You can't believe who I've worked with. It just doesn't make any sense. I worked with Alec Guinness, with Laurence Olivier, with John Gielgud. Because I'm really basically a Shakespearean actress. Actually, I went to the Central School of Speech and Drama. And so that's also why I have the accent. But they did teach me how to, all I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper cup of coffee pot. You can believe it or not, but I want a cup of coffee in a proper coffee pot. Tin coffee pots and iron coffee pots, they're no use to me. If I can't have a proper cup of coffee in a proper coffee pot, I'll have a cup of tea. So, thank you. So that's why but I got to, when I was doing my, Meryl Streep did the script, Postcards from the Edge that I wrote, so that was amazing, seeing her, do that, and the rest of the cast on that, and working with Mike Nichols. Mike Nichols would be, extraordinary to be around people who are that creative, that funny, that smart, and to just sit and take it in, and that they would have an interesting way of answering any question that you had. So I was very, I worked with Woody Allen. So we didn't get along perfectly, but I truly admire him. So I got to work with a lot of the people that I admire.
All right, we're down to your right. Right down here.
My name is Emily, and I'm really happy that you came here. It's a really big, I appreciate it a lot. And my question is, what do you think of George selling Star Wars to Disney, sorry, because I'm a big fan of both.
What did you say at the end? What was the end?
I'm a big fan of Star Wars and Disney, but what do you think of George selling Star Wars to Disney?
Well, if someone offered me $2 billion for something I had, I might sell it, even if it was Star Wars. There's something weirdly organic about it, even though when I try to imagine the support groups with myself and the other princesses, I have a tough time with that, you know. Oh, wake Sleeping Beauty up. The bitch is always sleeping, you know. Drown the Little Mermaid, whatever it is. So, I don't know, it's odd on that level but it does reflect the sort of fairy tale of our times. And I think that that's an important thing that George did. And so I think, you know, Disney buying it, you know, acknowledges that very thing. Acknowledges that George is altogether the Brothers Grimm. He's two Grimms in one. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing me in more. I'd like to be a ride. And I don't. That is not a euphemism. But, you know, there's a part of you that wants it to sort of, you know, stay unto itself and just always be Star Wars all apart from. But, you know, I think it's time that we grow up and move on. And if moving on makes us go to Disneyland, then I'm all for it.
All right, staying in the same general area, just a little bit closer to you.
Hi, since you're the daughter of two celebrities, I was just wondering if it was when you became a celebrity yourself, since you grew up kind of with knowing kind of what it's like, was there anything about being a celebrity yourself that surprised you?
That's a good question. Not that the other ones weren't. Well, the thing is, in a way, no. I mean, I never went into show business. You know, I never got to think, ooh, that'll be cool to be an actress, and I could go and be on a set. And so it wasn't other to me. That thing that's extraordinary to a lot of people was ordinary to me. I don't think I ever imagined. I was very insecure, and I don't think that I imagined that I could ever do something like that. I don't think I wanted to. I thought of my mother as being this beautiful woman, and I didn't look like her. Even when her hairdresser put her wig on me, I thought that was going to turn it around. And it didn't. You know how kids do stuff like that? You make decisions when you're really, really short that might change when you're taller. So I didn't want to go into, I wanted to be a writer. I didn't want to go, well, I couldn't want to go into show business. I was in. The neater trick would have been to get out. And I didn't turn that trick.
Right here in front of you.
Hi, Carrie. Thanks for coming back to Canada. I missed you a couple of years back when you were here, so thank you very much.
I miss you too.
I'm sure that you have conversations with other members from the original series, but I'm wondering if that has increased since the release of a 7th movie. Have you been talking with old members like Peter?